It was supposed to be just another exhausting Saturday. Diaper changes, a grocery run, maybe a desperate nap squeezed in between. But instead, he heard the cry. High-pitched, scared. A little girl's voice slicing through the mall's noise like a siren. And that single moment, that sound, set off a chain of events that would completely change his life. Before we dive in, quick favor. If you believe that even one small act of kindness can ripple into something massive, hit that like button. And if you've ever had a day that flipped your life upside down, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. And of course, subscribe, because stories like this, you won't want to miss the next one. Back to the mall. He was walking past the food court, pushing a stroller that squeaked like it was dying with every step. We noticed the people looking around, confused, uneasy. That's when he heard it too. Mommy, Mommy? The voice cracked. A little girl, no more than 5, was standing frozen near the escalators, tears welling up in her eyes. He didn't hesitate. He couldn't. He knew that fear, that helpless look. He'd seen it in his own son's eyes the day his mom left. So he crouched down slowly, made himself small, not just physically, but emotionally, gentle, safe. Hey, sweetheart, are you lost? She nodded, clutching a half-melted lollipop in one hand and a stuffed rabbit in the other. Her voice shook. I can't find my mom. Now, here's where things got complicated. People were watching, but not helping, just filming, whispering, judging. A man approaching a child, in public, but he didn't care. I'm a dad, he said softly. I'm going to help you, okay? He gently asked her name. Ellie. Asked what her mom looked like. Blonde hair, black coat, shiny shoes. Asked if she had a phone number. She didn't. He told her they were going to stay right there and wait. Your mom is probably looking for you right now. Inside, he was panicking. What if security thought he was trying to take her? What if her mom freaked out? What if? But he stayed calm for her. Because that's what dads do, even when their own world is falling apart. And his was falling apart. The rent was due in 4 days. His last paycheck had vanished into diapers, groceries, and antibiotics for his son's chest infection. His car's check engine light had been on so long it felt permanent. And worse, he was starting to believe he'd failed. As a man, as a provider, as a dad. That morning, after his toddler threw oatmeal all over the couch and his landlord sent a not-so-subtle final reminder, he typed out an email with shaking hands. It was a shot in the dark, sent to a company he'd admired for years. A job opening that was way above his league. But he'd written from the heart. No resume gimmicks. Just raw honesty. He begged them to see past his gaps, past the struggle. To see the father behind the failure. He never expected a response. And yet, that moment back at the mall would prove otherwise. Because just as he reassured Ellie that help was coming, a woman rounded the corner, fast. Her heels clicked with urgency. She scanned the area and locked eyes on the little girl. Ellie, she shouted, running over, dropping to her knees as she scooped the child into her arms. The reunion was instant. Tears, relief, gratitude. And then she looked up, straight at him, and froze. Wait, do I know you? That's when his stomach dropped. And hers did too. We're about to find out why that single question rewrote everything. But before we do, if your heart's racing, smash that like button. And if you've ever had life throw you an unbelievable twist, comment fate is real below. And don't forget to subscribe, because what happens next will make you believe the universe doesn't do coincidences. It sets appointments. That morning didn't start with coffee or calm. It started with chaos. His toddler had woken up crying from a soaked diaper. The baby wipes were empty. The fridge was half-stocked with condiments and guilt. And electricity had blinked twice, his not-so-gentle reminder that the utility bill was due. Again. He didn't say a word, just moved like a ghost through the kitchen, grabbing a slice of stale bread, spreading the last bit of peanut butter on it, and handing it to his son. Then he sat on the edge of the couch, buried his head in his hands, and stared at the inbox on his cracked phone. No replies, no offers, just silence. And then came the worst email yet. Subject line, thank you for applying, but inside the same message, not this time. He was overqualified for some, underexperienced for others. But mostly, he felt invisible, like his entire life had disappeared behind a veil of being a single dad. He hadn't always felt like this. Just 2 years ago, he had a plan, a family, a future. He was working a stable job in logistics and planning on buying a fixer-upper with his wife. But then a cancer. The diagnosis came fast and ended faster. One moment, she was laughing at a movie on the couch. The next, he was holding her hand in hospice. Grief doesn't come in waves. It just drowns you slowly. And with her gone, he had to be two people for their son. Every smile he gave that boy cost him a little more energy he didn't have. Every bedtime story masked the panic he felt after the lights went out. But that morning, something in him cracked. He pulled up the company website. He'd followed them for years. They were known for giving second chances, for having a heart behind the brand. The CEO had even been in the news once, talking about hiring humans, not resumes. Humains, notre humains. That line stuck with him. So he wrote, not with formality, not with bullet points, just raw truth. He told her he wasn't perfect, that he didn't have a college degree, that he'd stepped out of the workforce to take care of his dying wife, and then stayed home to raise their baby, that he wasn't just looking for a job, he was fighting for a chance to start over. He told her that no title or salary would mean more than being able to look his son in the eye and say, "We're going to be okay." He paused before hitting send. He even hovered his finger over delete. But something, intuition, faith, maybe just exhaustion, made him press send. And then, nothing. No out-of-office reply. No bounce back. No auto-generated, "Thanks for reaching out." Just silence. He sighed, grabbed the stroller, loaded up the diaper bag with 3 wipes, half a juice box, and exactly 1 snack bar. Then headed out to the mall, not to shop, but to walk, to move, to feel less stuck. He didn't know it yet, but that email had already started something. He didn't know it, but the woman who would read it was also walking that same mall at that exact time. She hadn't opened it yet, but fate had something different planned. And fate doesn't wait. The mall was loud, bustling with families and music echoing off tile floors. But in his mind, it was silent. Just him and his thoughts. What if he never found work? What if he had to move back in with his parents? What if he failed his son completely? He kept walking, past toy stores he couldn't afford, past restaurants where couples laughed over $18 salads, past his old self, the version of him who once believed in timelines. He stopped by the fountain, threw in a penny, not for luck, but for release. And then a child cried out, and everything changed. Before we move on, have you ever hit send on a message you weren't sure anyone would read? Tell me below. And hey, if this story has you feeling something, show the algorithm by hitting like. It tells me you want more stories like this. And remember, subscribe, because the way that email comes full circle, it's unbelievable. She was standing in the middle of the mall's chaos like a dropped pin on a GPS, frozen, scared, and alone. The little girl's face was red, her eyes glassy. She clutched her stuffed rabbit tighter with each second, like it could disappear too. Her lip quivered as she spun around in panic, searching for a face that wasn't there. The dad saw it all happen before anyone else did. Not because he was looking, but because he recognized it. That kind of fear lives deep in the gut of someone who's lost something precious. It's loud even when silent. He didn't run. He didn't make a scene. He just moved, calmly, cautiously, toward her. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked softly, crouching to her level. She backed away at first, eyes wide. He kept his hands open, voice steady. "It's okay. I'm a dad, too. My little boy's just over there in the stroller. Are you looking for your mom?" Her head bobbed slowly. "I can't find her." "Okay," he nodded. "Let's stay right here and we'll find her together, all right?" She sniffled and rubbed her eyes with her sleeve. Her phone died. Of course it did. He'd been that parent, so sure everything was fine until it wasn't. "Do you know her name?" She nodded again. "Rachel." He looked around. No security in sight. No mal stuff. Just a growing circle of curious onlookers, some whispering, some filming. No one stepping forward. He felt the stairs crawling up his back. A grown man, alone, with a child that's not his. He could almost hear the thoughts. Is this guy creep? Kidnapper? But he couldn't walk away. Not now. He pointed to a nearby bench. "Let's sit there. I'll stay right here with you until we find her." Ellie followed him, still holding tight to her rabbit. She looked up and asked, "What's your son's name?" "Jaden," he smiled. "He's 2. Loves dinosaurs and fruit snacks." She gave a tiny giggle, just enough to break the tension for a second. "Can he talk?" "Not much," he said, chuckling. "But he makes a mean roar." That got a rail laugh from her. The first sign of safety. Minutes passed. 5:10. Still no sign of the mom. He flagged down a passing security guard. Explained the situation. The guard nodded and radioed it in, but didn't do much else. "She'll probably turn up soon," he said before walking off. Comforting. And then Ellie said something that made his heart stop. My mom's important. She works all the time. She was on the phone. She didn't even see me walk away. He paused. What does she do? She's a boss, Ellie said. Like, of everyone. He raised an eyebrow. A CEO? She nodded like it was just another word for mom. He smiled. Sounds like she's really smart. She is, Ellie beamed. And really pretty, too. He couldn't help but laugh. I bet she is. And just then, he heard it. Ellie. Ellie. A voice. Female. Breaking with panic. Ellie jumped up. Mommy. He stood as the woman ran toward them, heels clacking, coat flying behind her. She dropped to her knees and wrapped Ellie in her arms. Her breathing was sharp, her mascara slightly smudged from sweat or tears or both. Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. Then as she looked up, their eyes met, and everything stopped. Her mouth opened slightly, her brow furrowed. He knew that face. She knew his. Wait, she said, her voice trembling. Did you email me this morning? He froze. Rachel, he said, stunned. And that's when it hit them both, at the same moment. He had helped the daughter of the CEO he'd emailed that very morning, begging for a job. Fate doesn't send LinkedIn alerts. Sometimes it sends a lost child in a mall. Smash the like button if this twist caught you off guard. Comment right place, right time if you believe in fate. And don't forget to subscribe, because next you'll see how this moment changed everything. Her voice cracked again. You emailed me this morning at 8:42 a.m. His heart dropped into his shoes. He nodded slowly, trying to find the words. Yeah, that was me. She blinked, still holding her daughter close. Her mind seemed to be processing 1,000 things at once. She was staring at him, but also somewhere far away, doing the math, realizing that the man who just kept her daughter safe was the same man who had written to her in desperation. He stood there, awkward and frozen. His hands were shaking just slightly, hidden in his jacket pockets. I'm sorry, he finally said. I didn't mean to make this weird. I was just... No, she cut in, shaking her head, her voice tight. You were just kind. You helped my daughter when no one else did. That's not weird. That's incredible. There was a pause. Ellie clung to her mother's leg now, watching them with big, curious eyes. The mall noise seemed to blur into the background like static. Rachel took a slow breath. I haven't read the whole email yet, she said. I saw your name when it came through, but got pulled into a meeting. Then this happened. Of course, he nodded. You're busy. I didn't expect a reply. She looked him in the eye. I was going to reply. I still am. He wasn't sure what to say. His voice got quiet. I wasn't asking for sympathy, just the chance. Her eyes softened, and for the first time, the polished executive mask cracked just slightly. You didn't sound like someone asking for sympathy. You sounded like someone who's been through hell and still chose to be decent. He swallowed hard. She extended her hand. Rachel Monroe, CEO of Ellera Group. He took it. Daniel. Well, Daniel, I think we need to talk. She turned to Ellie. Sweetheart, how about we grab ice cream? My treat. Ellie nodded enthusiastically, still not fully understanding the surreal adult moment happening above her head. Rachel looked back at him. Walk with us. He hesitated for a second before nodding. Yeah, I like that. They walked slowly, past stores and strollers and strangers who had no idea that a major life shift was happening in real time. Rachel started asking questions, not interview style, but human style, about his son, about his late wife, about how he kept going, how he didn't fall apart. He was honest about the bad days, the guilt, the survival mode, the moments when he'd cry in the shower so his son wouldn't hear, about how lonely it felt to be strong all the time, to have no one asking him if he was okay. She didn't flinch. She listened. You know, she said eventually, I was raised by a single dad, too. He worked nights, cleaned schools, no degrees, no titles. But I'd put him up against any CEO in the country. He smiled. Sounds like a good man. He was. They reached the ice cream stand, and while Ellie picked a cup of mint chocolate chip, Rachel turned to him again. I can't promise anything, she said, but we're hiring. And after today, I'd be a fool not to bring you in to meet my team. His throat tightened. Seriously? She nodded. Seriously? He exhaled, the kind of exhale that sounds like someone finally setting down a weight they've carried for too long. Rachel smiled. I believe in qualifications, but I believe in character more. He laughed quietly. Character doesn't pay rent. Well, she said, maybe it's time it starts. Then, almost as an afterthought, she added, and for what it's worth, I don't think you need saving. I think you just need someone to open the door you've already earned. If that line hit you right in the chest, hit that like button. And tell me, have you ever had a moment where life just connected in the most unexpected way? Drop your story in the comments. And subscribe, because in the next chapter, you'll see what happens when that job offer goes deeper than anyone expected. The following Monday, he sat in the waiting room of a high-rise downtown. Same hoodie, same orange shoes. But something felt different. Not because he expected a miracle, because, for once, he didn't feel like a nobody walking in. He felt seen. Rachel had texted him over the weekend. Coming Monday. Meet the team. No pressure. No pressure. That's what people say when there's definitely pressure. He bounced his knee as the receptionist smiled politely. The glass doors behind her swung open, and out stepped Rachel, this time in a blazer and heels, her CEO face fully activated. Yet when she saw him, her expression softened. Warm. Personal. Daniel, she said, offering her hand again. Glad you made it. Thanks for inviting me, he replied, voice steady but heart racing. She walked him through the open office, sleek desks, natural lighting, energized people typing and brainstorming in every corner. He felt like he was touring another planet. This is marketing, she said, pointing. And over here is customer success. But today you'll be talking with our director of operations. He's got a role I think might suit you. A role? A real one. They walked into a small conference room. The director, James, was kind, direct, and thorough. They talked logistics, problem solving, resource planning, the kinds of things Daniel used to handle in his previous job before life had derailed everything. You've got good instincts, James said, flipping through Daniel's sparse resume. You've been out of the game, but honestly, I see a lot of value here. Daniel nodded, fighting the urge to second-guess himself. This wasn't a charity interview. He was being genuinely considered. After an hour, James shook his hand and said, "We'll be in touch." Rachel walked him back to the elevator. "You did great," she said. "He liked you." "I hope so," Daniel replied, forcing a smile. "Hey," she said, pausing before the elevator doors opened. "I meant what I said at the mall. Character matters." "You've got it." The doors closed, and he stood there in the elevator, holding that sentence like a lifeline. 3 days later, the offer came in. Official. Real. With a salary, but also with something else. Attached to the email was a note, handwritten, scanned and signed by Rachel. "Daniel, I've read your email 6 times now. It reminded me of my father, of resilience, of grit, of love that doesn't quit. We're not just offering you a job. We're offering you a reset. Welcome to the team." Rachel, he read it 5 times before calling his mom to cry. Not because he had a job, but because, for the first time in years, someone gave him a chance without making him beg for it. The next week, he started work. Nervous but ready. He got a new routine. Woke up early. Made breakfast for Jaden. Dropped him at daycare with a packed lunch and a promise, "Daddy's got work today." And every day, he walked into that office not as someone rescued, but as someone who finally got a shot to earn his place again. One afternoon, a few weeks in, Rachel stopped by his desk. "How's it going?" He looked up from his spreadsheet and smiled. "Better than I thought possible." She grinned. "Good. Because you've got potential, Daniel. I see it." He nodded. "Thank you." And he meant it more than he could ever say. Because it wasn't just a job. It was dignity, stability, a reason to look forward instead of back. And none of it would have happened if he hadn't stopped at that bench in the mall. If he hadn't helped a scared little girl find her mom. If you believe kindness circles back in ways we never expect, hit that like button. And comment "The little things matter" if you agree that one act of good can open doors you didn't even know existed. Subscribe, because in our final chapter, we'll see how Daniel's new life continues to unfold in the most unexpected way. It's been 6 months since that day at the mall. 6 months since a single act of kindness rippled out and changed everything. Daniel now walks into work each morning with a quiet confidence, not because his problems disappeared, but because he no longer faces them alone. His son, Jaden, has a new daycare he loves. Daniel even bought his first brand new pair of shoes in years. The kind that don't squeak. The kind that remind you belong. He and Rachel aren't just employer and employee anymore. They're friends. Allies. People who remind each other why second chances matter. Last week, she stopped by his desk again, not with a task, but with a question. "Would you like to speak at our leadership workshop next month?" About resilience? His eyes widened. Me? She nodded. Your story is exactly what people need to hear. He said yes, nervously, but also proudly. Because here's the truth. Daniel didn't become a hero by saving a lost child. He became one by showing up every day afterward, when no one was watching, by choosing love over bitterness, by doing the hard thing, even when the easy thing was to give up. And Rachel, she didn't just open a door. She proved that leadership isn't about titles or corner offices. It's about noticing, about seeing people fully, even when the world has looked past them. Her choice didn't just change a life. It reminded her why she started building in the first place. Now, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself this. How many moments like that have passed you by without you even realizing it? Moments where one kind gesture, one, "Are you okay?" one decision to stay instead of walk away, could have made all the difference. We live in a world that rewards speed, noise, self-interest. But sometimes, the biggest breakthroughs come from the quietest acts. A man stops to help a child. A woman looks beyond a resume. A child unknowingly reunites two strangers in a way even the best screenwriter couldn't make up. And somewhere in all of that, you're reminded that fate doesn't need to shout. It just needs space. Daniel didn't know helping Ellie would lead to a job. Rachel didn't know losing sight of her daughter would bring her closer to someone she never would have hired from a stack of digital applications. But it happened because people showed up. Because someone decided that being a good human mattered more than being cautious, more than being afraid of judgment, more than convenience. That moment wasn't flashy. It wasn't filmed or broadcasted, but it mattered. It shifted two lives forever, and indirectly a little boy's future too. Now, Jaden points at his dad's work badge with pride. He asks questions about spreadsheets and meetings, and every time Daniel answers, he does it with the awareness that he's planting seeds. Seeds of security, of hope, of what's possible. And Rachel, she's still running a company, still in meetings, still making decisions. But every time she walks past Daniel's desk, she remembers them all. The moment, the man who didn't walk away. And it makes her lead with more heart. So if this story reminded you that one act of kindness can rewrite an entire story, hit that like button. Not for me, but for all the Daniels out there who just need a door cracked open. Comment kindness is powerful if you believe we rise by lifting others. And if you're new here, subscribe. This isn't just a channel for stories. It's a space for second chances, for reminders that good people still exist, for proof that no matter how messy life gets, you can always start again. And maybe, just maybe, your next life-changing moment is already on its way.